Good evening, sports fans. Crewbat for the win of the TokenMinorities here today with the GBA Week 6 against AsterJ, and he is a divisional opponent. That's why this game is a must-win. We're on a do-or-die path right now. We're 1-4. Okay, we finally caught that first dub last week, and I'm extremely proud of that. We've made such tremendous progress after that. But this is one of our toughest opponents this season, and if we don't pull out a W here, we could pretty much say the end of our season. Like I said, divisional opponent, very important. So, I've really worked hard on this matchup. I want to tell you what he has for his team. Let's get started. Alright, he has got Mega Mawile, Lunala, Tornadus Therian, Rotom Wash, Nidokings, Tyranitar, Reuniclus, Cobalion, Salamence, Licky, and Stoutland. He's got Cobalion Z, Tornadus Z. Our first Mon for the week is going to be a rocking Fightinium Z, Gengar, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, Psychic, and Icy Wind. So the Icy Wind's the utility, maybe an incoming Tornadus or something like that, which is really cool. Coverage for the rest. Focus Blast hits a lot really hard in this game as well. Psychic for Nidokings. We've got a Choppleberry Heatran, a very bulky, especially bulky, particularly one, or Lava Plume, Stealth Rock, and Toxic. So it's going to deal with Mega Mawile decently well as well, in addition to Tornadus Therian. And the only way Tornadus Therian can hit this Mon is with Superpower, which we have Choppleberry for. Or if for some reason he runs Hidden Power Ground, that would be interesting. We've also got Palkia with Assault Vest. So this is to deal specifically with Lunala when he brings it. Surf, Spatial Rend, Flamethrower, and Shadow Claw. We are running a hasty nature just because of that. We are going to run Shadow Claw because it 2-hit KOs Lunala after Shadow Shield is broken. Next we've got Tapu Bulu, which is a very physically bulky variant. We've got a Leftovers, Subseed, Hornleech, and Protect variant. Now this is because we can outspeed Mega Mawile, even a speedy one, and Seed right on it, and it's really great to just get health back, and as long as he doesn't pass wishes, we would be in very good shape. Our next Mon is Genesect with an Expert Belt. That's worth noting. I'm going to try to bluff Scarf in this game. U-Turn, Energy Ball, Flamethrower, and Dark Pulse. So we are definitely specially based in this game. It gets just fantastic coverage against everything that he has in this team. Our final Mon is going to be our new pickup. We dropped Heliolisk in favor of Crocodile, and Crocodile is getting its first game right here. Choice, Scarf, Intimidate, Earthquake, Knockoff, Pursuit, and Toxic. So Toxic, if we predict some kind of switch, we have that, but the rest are pretty straightforward. Now, alright, we got something to talk about. Alright, now that the team is done, I'm going to tell you what he brought to the game. And you're going to say to me, why is this not on the screen? Why aren't you playing the game? Well, let's talk about it. So, he brought to this game, I have to scroll over one, hang on one second. He brought Tornadus Therian, Reuniclus, Salamence, Rotom Wash, Mega Mawile, and Licky. Why is it not on the screen? Look, I can't get it. I can't avoid it. Okay, there's a monkey in the room, guys. There's an elephant in the room. There are so many animals in the room right now. We have to face the fact that the game DC'd at a point when the outcome, whatever that was very... You knew what the outcome was. We knew someone was going to win. And it DC'd right before that for whatever reason. And I'm going to explain the game as I remember it. There was a ton of stall and a ton of filler. So honestly, it's probably better that we see me explaining the game this way. I'm going to put some nice paint on the screen so we can have some fun, some MS Paint. Let's jump into it. I mean, I think I can do a good job explaining what happened. So the first 50 minutes, yeah, it is a very long game. First 50 minutes of the game went like this. It was a Genesect versus Tornadus Therian lead. I decided to swap out. I mean, obviously I wanted to bluff Scarf, that's nice, but I wasn't Scarf, so I had to swap out. I also didn't want to risk him being a Scarf Tornadus T in his mind. You know, that's probably what he was thinking. If he was a Scarf Tornadus T, why would he switch out? He did switch out. We both swapped out turn 1. I go to Heatran. So he obviously expected Scarf Genesect. I think I still bluffed that very well. First turn. He's a clue he's not Scarf Torn T. Goes to Mawile. That's a fantastic switch for me. He's expecting it to take a U-turn. But we got Heatran in. He goes to Licky on Heatran as I set up rocks. It's fantastic. I then the next turn, just as I always do, miss a Toxic, which I don't think he had a Heal Bell, So that really ended up mattering, considering what I'm going to tell you in a little bit. Okay, that Toxic Mist mattered. It does about 50 Heatran gets about 50% damage from a Licky Licky Stomping Tantrum. That's pretty cool. We're still in the green, though. We are still in the green as this is all going on. We're just a hair over half. I now swap to Bulu on another Tantrum. So I set up a sub with my Bulu on the switch to Mawile, and then I could get a free Leech Seed off. Nice Protect, nice Horn Leech. Mega Mawile's down to about half health. He breaks that sub. I get to scout out its set. I don't see Iron Head, I see Play Rough. I remember that. I really was hoping for a Mist, but I don't think he ever got a Play Rough Mist during the game. So he just breaks this up. And the game from this point on, for about the next 40 minutes or so, becomes a combination of several things that if I went through every single turn, I don't even remember every single turn, but if I did, it would probably take an hour. So I'm just going to give you the briefing for about the next 40 minutes of the game. Heatran does end up fainting at some point. Due to Tornadus Therian, it just got chipped down over and over again by U-turns and some other moves that were just being dished out during the game. It actually did quite a lot of work in walling stuff. It may have taken a hit from Mega Mawile too, if I recall. So that's cool. You know, Heatran went down, but it was still 6-5 until about 10 minutes left in the game. Now, Licky Licky continually gets some free switches in on some things. It gets a free Wish Protect off. Often into Mawile, I think it may have always been Mawile. There may have been one time it wasn't, but he got a ton of Wish Protects off. I couldn't break Licky Licky. Remember that Toxic Miss? Would have made it so much easier to break that Licky Licky, because I think Palkia at one point was very close to 2-hit KOing it, and that Toxic would have been really nice to help. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So, on the other hand, this whole issue is also kind of my fault, because Licky Licky is always a free sub for Bulu. So I get Protect and Leech Seed off every single time. Now continue this combination of Licky Licky Wish Passing and Tapu Bulu sub Protect Leech Seed, passing it off into something else where Mega Mawile can't quite KO, or he switches out, or he goes into Reuniclus, or he goes into Tornadus Therian. You combine all this. We are sitting at a 6-5 game with Mons that have barely taken any damage. And I still can't believe it. I'm so glad, actually, I don't have to narrate that. That is one silver lining to the replay not being here and a disconnect occurring. Now, the last 10 minutes are probably the most important here. There was a point in the game when I was making good switches. I was trying to predict. I felt like I was down because I felt like he could have just gone for timer and kept Wish Protecting, so I really had to catch him with good switches. I was putting Genesect into dangerous switching situations, predicting his switches or predicting certain moves. And I seemed to be invincible when I was making these plays, and I got free U-turns off, and Genesect came in over and over again, and I finally got the matchup I wanted. And this was maybe about like 6 or 8 minutes left when this happened. I got a Energy Ball off with Genesect onto Rotom and took Rotom out, which really was nice. This put it to 5-5. I think Aster still had the advantage because I was chipped. My HP was probably more chipped than his. I hadn't even seen, I think, 2 of his Mons in this game already. So they had full health, of course. Now, this is where bluffing Scarf all game came in handy. He goes into Mega Mawile on my supposedly locked into Energy Ball Genesect. And obviously I outspeed. He doesn't Sucker Punch. There's no need to. I'm assuming he Swords Dance or something like that. I go for a Flamethrower with Genesect. And that is what turns the tide of the game with probably 6 minutes left. That Mawile goes down. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a really good situation. He goes into Tornadus Therian, because obviously he knows it's on Scarf now, and his Tornadus Therian outspeeds everything on my team. And so I'm thinking if he's Z-Kane, or if he even just has regular Hurricane, I am in big trouble. But I see his last couple moves. I think I saw Fightinium Z. I switch into Hockey, I switch into Boo. I make some good switches, trying to scout us out. He doesn't have Hurricane. He doesn't have Z-Kane. I see Fightinium Z, and I switched that in. I switched Bulu in on a Fightinium Z. I'm assuming Superpower. Maybe Focus Blast. One of the two. I mean, his moveset I think was Knock Off, some fighting move, U-turn, and Heat Wave. And I couldn't believe that. That's what he had. And so I was able to get Palkia in there. Because as long as he wasn't Z Hurricane, my Palkia was at high enough health where it was able to take any attack from the Tornadus. And I could basically just get a free KO. So he goes into Licky Licky as I go with Palkia. And Palkia ends up KOing the Licky Licky with the Stealth Rock and some previous chip. Licky Licky goes down, making it 5-3. And so he goes back into Tornadus there, and it's about 1 minute left in the game. And we're going to have a picture on screen right about now, showing you that it disconnected. I switched into Tapu Bulu. He didn't have any sort of flying type move to go for. At that point, all I had to do was protect and win the game. So that was when it disconnected. I still couldn't believe how the game played out. I wish I could show you how great this game went. How the good switches I was making, how the game came together, how I bluffed the Scarf all game. But unfortunately I can't. Alas, we're still champion today. We won! We won a game. Not one person on the pick'ems predicted us to win this game. Not one. And we did it. We did it. We had help from Timer, but we did it again. I know people are probably annoyed with my Timer wins, but admittedly, I don't have proof, of course, but it was a super back and forth game. We both had one stall MON that just kept regenerating health for everything and everyone, and it was kind of 40 minutes of useless garbage in between. But in those 20 minutes, when there was not useless garbage, there were good switches going on. It was a good game, and I hope my little story of trying to explain what happened, maybe with some MS Paint in here, just to have a little bit of fun, I hope that can at least satisfy you guys enough. I'm sorry I didn't get the game. I have the damage meter, and I have OBS open when I do this. I should have just recorded even just the video, just in case of a DC, but I've never had that happen. I will be doing that going forward, so if something like this happens, it will not stoop to this again. So we do not have to see these MS Paint faces again. Alrighty guys, it was fun narrating this. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're now 2-4. We've got a big game against Golden Dragon next week. We gotta win. We're on a road to win. We have to. If we want the Bill Nye the Science Guy waffle maker. No, I'm just kidding. But we just gotta keep winning. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.